Walking for several hours, none of them encountered any monsters that were supposed to be in the forest. Not wanting to be surprised, Han made it so that any hostile elements would show up as a red dot. Depending on how close they were, the size of the globe would increase. This would help him to keep a better watch out for any ambushes. Though the teacher had told the groups that this wasn't a competition, there may be teams that would ignore this and attack other groups. The way the nobles had reacted to his group, he wouldn't be surprised if they decided to attack him. The two sisters seemed to enjoy the various sights and sounds inside the forest. Though the teacher had warned them not to become complacent, the two girls found themselves pointing at animals. Some birds flying between the trees, and deer-like animals grazing on the grass. With his intruder detection system, Han didn't feel worried about the lack of caution. If there were an attack, he would wait and allow them to experience the dangers of this world. The best way to get them to not think of this as a typical field trip was to expose the two of them to danger. A part of him was thinking about whether he should create monsters of his own so that they could attack the sisters, considering there were none around, at least nearby. When he was about to create a monster, he saw 3 red dots appear on his right. They were still small, so the intruders weren't close by. Wondering why there were 3 dots, he looked at Brittany and commanded, "I want you to go investigate possible intruders to the right of us. Make sure that they don't see you. I will give you shadow magic, so use it to gather intelligence." "Yes, Master," Brittany responded to his request. After receiving the powers, Brittany turned into a shadow and moved up a nearby tree and streaked towards the intruders. Telling the girls to stay where they were, Han sat on a fallen tree and made a spike materialize. Throwing it at a nearby tree, he started to make his family's crest. When he was nearly halfway finished, he received a message from Brittany. "Master, 3 students are heading towards us. The group belongs to the one with the second prince in it, and from their expression, they are likely looking to cause trouble for Master. I believe that one of the members can track other classmates, cause they periodically stop to check that they are going in the right direction. Master, what would you like me to do?" "I want you to continue following them, but do not engage. I am curious as to what their intentions are," Han informed Brittany. "Celine, I need to take a quick restroom break, so I'll be walking a little ways away from the two of you. Make sure that both of you stay vigilant. Even though we may not have encountered beasts, you do not know when they can appear." Han cautioned the two of them. After hearing their acknowledgement, Han teleported to a nearby tree's upper branch. He sat on top of it and calmly waited for what was about to happen. "Master, they will be passing by you soon," Brittany said to him. Seeing the red globe increase in size, he finally noticed Eric's group rushing towards Celine and Lydia. When they reached the tree that Han was sitting on, they slowed down. Calmly walking out so they could be seen, they waited until Celine and Lydia noticed them. Seeing Eric's confused face, Han could tell that Eric was curious about where Han was. They didn't realize that Han was watching them from up high. Lydia was the first to notice Eric's group. She quickly yelled out, "Sister!" and gained Celine's attention. Celine looked at the 3 boys and with a trembling voice asked, "Why are you here? If you are going to the ruins, you are going the wrong direction." She attempted to direct them, still hoping that it was all a misunderstanding on her part. "We already know how to get to the ruins," Eric snickered at Celine's frightened expression. "Since people, like myself, would not have trouble reaching the ruins, we thought that some fun would be well deserved." The other 2 boys laughed wickedly at Eric's joke. What do you mean?" Celine asked, her voice shaking as she was beginning to understand what was about to happen. "Unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to use my pet, cause father said that she is an important tool. The problem is that now, I'm feeling slightly lonely. Seeing the two of you, I thought it would be fun to have you accompany us. I'm sure that you'll work just as fine as she would. Eric laughed at them. Lydia looked utterly terrified at what was about to happen, as she hid behind Celine's back. Wanting to be strong for her sister, Celine took out her daggers that Han had given her and prepared them. I don't want to hurt you three, so just go back before the teacher catches you, and you get in trouble. Celine tried to threaten them, hoping they'd realize what they were about to do. Did you hear what she said? Eric laughed while the other two were clutching their stomach and laughing. How about this? If you come with us, we will let your precious sister run away. He tried to sound reasonable to Celine. The two nobles next to him were snickering, because they understood that Eric was blatantly lying to the girl. You do not want to fight us. All three of us are strong fighters, learning how to fight monsters since we were kids. We have been trained by professional soldiers, and I personally have led troops into battle. Think about your sister. Eric's voice sounded genuinely concerned for Lydia. Celine was still standing in front of Lydia, with both of her daggers in front of her. Her expression showed that she wanted to fight, but she was also afraid for her sister. Realizing her inability to fight off three nobles, Celine bowed her head in submission. Tears dripping down her face, she dropped her daggers. Slowly dragging her feet, she made her way towards Eric. What do you think you are doing with my teammate? Han said to Eric as he calmly sat on a tree branch. Eric spun around and faced Han, his face exposing how surprised he was. One of the boys reached for a sword and pulled it out, while the other raised the staff to prepare a spell. Mind your own business. I am just going to see what commoners feel like, so just go on your way if you do not want to get hurt. Eric threatened Han. That is such a coincidence. I was going to tell you the exact same thing. If you do not want to get hurt, I advise the three of you to leave and stay out of my sight. Han chuckled. I am the second prince of the great lunar empire. If I want to, I could have an army come here and destroy your pathetic family. Now scram, before you make me any angrier at you. Eric growled at him. The problem is that I'm not scared of your tiny empire. Han jumped down and stood near the three students. Raising one of his hands, Han made a ball of plasma appear. The ball radiated massive amounts of heat, making the three boys step back in fright. Do you know what this is? This ball of plasma is so hot that if it hit you, there would be nothing left. You'd be consumed so quickly and thoroughly that there would not even be ashes. Han tossed the ball back and forth between his two hands. I think the three of you need a demonstration. Taking the ball of plasma, Han increased the size so it was nearly 5 times as large. With a flick of his wrist, Han made the massive ball of plasma hit a tree that was 100 feet away. The tree being incinerated was an understatement, as the moisture inside was rapidly expanded and turned instantly into a gaseous state. In a moment, the tree exploded into thousands of pieces. Before doing this, Han had placed a barrier around himself and his sisters. Fragments of the tree flew out in all directions, becoming like thousands of daggers. If the tree had been close by, the splinters would have killed the 3 students before they even realized it. With the tree far enough away, the fragments still hit the 3 boys, but they weren't life-threatening. Han watched as the 3 students dropped to the ground, screaming in pain. As they were rolling on the ground, one of them was still able to cast a healing spell. Because it had to cover 3 people instead of 1, the strength was greatly diminished. The boy had to cast it several times before the sharp pieces of the tree were pushed out from the skin. They stumbled to their feet, holding Eric up, who was still out of it. When he began to regain his bearing, Eric looked at him with utter hatred. "I will make you regret this," he screamed. The 3 of them quickly retreated away from them, tripping over the occasional tree root that was sticking out of the ground. Looking at Celine, who was still standing in front of Lydia, Han walked over to her. "I'm sorry that I was not able to arrive sooner," he told her, trying to sound sorrowful. He also removed the barrier that was protecting her and her sister. Seeing Han, Celine ran towards him and held onto him, while bawling her eyes out. "I was so scared," she cried out, her body shivering in fright. Holding Celine, Han stroked her hair to calm her down. A part of him felt guilty about doing that to her, but this would also serve to be an essential life lesson for the 2 of them. Monsters weren't the only things they needed to look out for, whether inside or outside of the city.